Has someone you love started showing subtle but concerning changes over the past year? Many people assume that death in old age happens suddenly, but the truth is, the body often sends quiet warnings months, sometimes even a year before life reaches its final stage. The problem is, most people miss these signs because they seem small at first. It's only later, looking back, that families realize the clues were there all along. But by then, it's too late to prepare, too late to make those last memories count. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 key signs that often appear a year before an elderly person passes away. Some of them might be things you've noticed but brushed off as just aging. Others might be changes that seem minor, but actually signal the body's gradual decline. Recognizing these signs early gives you the opportunity to provide better care, cherish meaningful moments, and most importantly, ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is filled with comfort, dignity, and peace. Stay with us until the end, because these 5 signs can help you prepare emotionally and practically for what's ahead. When you understand what's happening, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be able to make the most of the time you have left with those you love. Now let's get started. Number 1, significant weight loss. One of the earliest and most telling signs that a person may be approaching the final year of their life is unintentional weight loss. At first, it might seem subtle, a belt that suddenly needs tightening, clothes that appear looser, or a once hearty appetite that begins to fade. Many families dismiss it as just part of getting older, but the truth is, losing weight without trying is rarely a good sign. It often indicates that the body is no longer absorbing nutrients efficiently, muscle mass is decreasing, and essential systems are slowing down. Aging naturally leads to some loss of muscle, but when it happens too quickly, it's a sign that something deeper is occurring. The body may be struggling to digest food properly, or the person may no longer be able to process protein effectively, leading to muscle wasting. This loss of strength doesn't just make movement more difficult, it increases the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and leaves the person vulnerable to infections. Another reason for weight loss in the final year of life? Appetite changes. Many elderly individuals simply don't feel hungry the way they used to. Their sense of taste fades. Food no longer seems enjoyable, and they might start skipping meals or eating much smaller portions. This isn't just a matter of preference, it's a physiological change. The body, sensing that it's beginning to shut down, no longer signals the brain to seek food as often. The result? Less energy, less strength, and a gradual decline in overall health. And then there's the role of underlying medical conditions. Weight loss is a common symptom of chronic diseases like cancer, heart failure, or kidney disease, all of which can begin progressing long before more obvious symptoms appear. Even conditions like depression or cognitive decline can lead to reduced eating, causing a downward spiral where the body isn't receiving enough fuel to sustain itself. Some families try to solve the problem by encouraging their loved ones to eat more, offering favorite foods or supplementing meals with protein drinks. But if the weight continues to drop despite these efforts, it's important to recognize that the issue is not just diet, it's the body preparing for a deeper transition. At this stage, forcing large meals may not help. Instead, focusing on comfort, easy to eat, foods and hydration can make a bigger difference in maintaining quality of life. If you notice significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, especially if they're eating less, feeling weaker, or struggling to stay active, it's time to pay attention. This is not just about physical appearance. It's about the body sending a message. And understanding that message now can help you prepare for the road ahead with clarity, compassion, and the ability to make every remaining moment meaningful. Number 2, extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most noticeable changes in the year leading up to the end of life is a deep, persistent fatigue that doesn't go away with rest. It's not just feeling a little tired after a long day. It's a profound exhaustion that makes even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Getting out of bed becomes a challenge. Walking across the room requires effort, and activities that once felt routine, like cooking, dressing, or even holding a conversation, start to feel too draining. This isn't just a result of aging. It's a sign that the body is conserving its remaining energy. As organ function begins to slow, the body starts prioritizing what's most essential. The heart doesn't pump as efficiently, circulation weakens, and muscles don't get the same level of oxygen they once did. This is why many elderly individuals in their final months feel weak, unsteady, and unable to sustain the same level of activity they once enjoyed. Another key factor is metabolic slowdown. The body is designed to produce and use energy, but as it prepares for its final phase, that energy is redirected. Instead of fueling movement, the body shifts toward preservation. This is why someone in decline may start sleeping more, needing longer naps during the day, and finding it harder to stay awake for long periods. Some may even experience sudden drops in energy, where they seem fine one moment but completely drain the next. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this process is the emotional impact of fatigue. Many seniors who once took pride in their independence begin feeling frustrated or even embarrassed that they can't do what they used to. They may withdraw from conversations, avoid social interactions, or stop engaging in hobbies, not because they don't care, but because they simply don't have the energy. This can lead to a cycle of isolation where they stop trying altogether, which only accelerates the decline. For families, watching a loved one go from active and engaged to exhausted and withdrawn can be painful. It's easy to assume they're just being lazy or that they need to push through it. But the reality is that forcing activity won't help. What matters most is understanding their limits, allowing them to rest when needed, and making their remaining days as comfortable as possible. If you notice a loved one experiencing deep, ongoing fatigue that isn't relieved by rest, take it as a sign that their body is going through a major transition. This is the time to cherish conversations. Create moments of peace and support them without expectations. Because in the end, what matters most isn't how much they can do. It's that they feel loved, understood, and at ease. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. As a person approaches the final stage of life, one of the most striking changes can be seen in how they think, communicate, and interact with others. You may notice that someone who was once sharp and engaged starts to forget things more often, struggle to follow conversations, or seem disoriented in familiar places. They may repeat themselves, forget names, or lose track of time, even when they never had memory issues before. These subtle cognitive changes can happen months, or even a full year before death. This isn't just everyday forgetfulness. The brain, like any other organ, requires a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. But as circulation weakens and oxygen supply to the brain decreases, cognitive function starts to decline. The person may become easily confused, have difficulty making decisions, or struggle to recognize people and places they've known for years. In some cases, they may even have brief moments of lucidity followed by sudden episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is fading in and out. Another common sign, emotional withdrawal. Someone nearing the end of life often loses interest in social interactions. You might notice them speaking less, engaging less, or spending long periods, simply sitting in silence. It's not that they don't care about their loved ones, it's that their brain no longer processes emotions and engagement the same way. Conversations become tiring, loud environments feel overwhelming, and eventually many seniors retreat into their own world. You may also notice changes in mood and behavior. Some individuals become more irritable, anxious, or easily frustrated. Others seem unusually calm, detached, or indifferent to things that once mattered to them. This isn't just a personality shift. It's often a result of the brain adjusting to the body's decline. As cognitive function slows, emotions become harder to express, and the person may stop reacting to situations in the way they used to. For family members, this stage can be especially difficult. Watching a loved one lose touch with reality or pull away emotionally can feel like losing them before they're actually gone. But it's important to remember this isn't something they can control. Instead of trying to bring them back into conversations, the best thing you can do is meet them where they are. Speak gently, offer reassurance, and understand that even if they don't always respond, they can still feel your presence. If a loved one is becoming more forgetful, more confused, or less engaged, don't ignore it. These are often early signs that the body and mind are preparing for the final transition. This is a time to be patient, cherish quiet moments, and focus on creating an environment that feels safe, familiar, and peaceful. Because even when words fade, love and comfort can still be felt. Let's move on. Number 4, frequent infections and slow healing. As the body begins to wind down, one of the clearest physical signs is a weakened immune system. You might notice that someone who rarely got sick before now seems to catch every cold, every flu, every small infection that goes around. What used to be minor illnesses now take much longer to recover from, and simple wounds like a small cut or bruise heal at a noticeably slower rate. These changes aren't random. They're signs that the body is no longer able to defend or repair itself the way it once did. One of the biggest concerns is repeated infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, and even oral infections become more common as the immune system weakens. Many families assume these are just isolated illnesses, but when they start happening frequently or take a long time to clear up, it's often a sign that the body is losing its ability to fight back. Even antibiotics, which once worked quickly, may seem less effective. The person may need stronger medications, longer recovery periods, or multiple rounds of treatment for infections that once would have been minor. This happens because as circulation slows and organ function declines, the body simply doesn't respond to treatment as well. Another overlooked issue, chronic wounds. If you notice that small scratches, sores, or bruises aren't healing properly or keep reopening, it could mean that circulation is compromised. Poor blood flow means that oxygen and nutrients aren't reaching the skin and tissues efficiently, making healing much slower than usual. Pressure sores, especially for those who are less mobile, become a serious risk and can lead to dangerous infections if not carefully managed. What's even more concerning is that infections in the final year of life often don't look the way we expect. Instead of a high fever, an elderly person may simply seem more tired than usual, more confused, or less interested in eating. In fact, for seniors, a sudden decline in mental alertness is often the first warning sign of an infection, even before other symptoms appear. This is why recognizing these changes early can make a difference in how much comfort and support they receive in their final stage of life. For families, watching a loved one go through repeated infections can be frustrating and heartbreaking. It's tempting to push for aggressive treatments, hoping that one more round of antibiotics or one more hospital stay will fix the problem. But at a certain point, the focus often shifts from curing to comforting, making sure they stay hydrated, keeping their skin clean and moisturized, and minimizing stress on the body can do more for their well-being than another round of medication that only prolongs suffering. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, major changes in breathing or circulation. What they really mean in the final stage. Number 5, major changes in breathing or circulation. What they really mean in the final stages of life. One of the most noticeable and telling signs that someone is entering the final stage of life is a shift in their breathing patterns and circulation. These changes often signal that the body is beginning to slow down and conserve its remaining energy. It can be a deeply emotional and even frightening experience for family members to witness, but understanding what's happening can provide clarity, comfort, and a chance to offer meaningful support. As the end of life approaches, many people begin to breathe differently than they used to. You may observe that your loved one starts breathing more slowly, more shallowly, or with a different rhythm than before. It's not uncommon for someone nearing death to have moments where they stop breathing for a few seconds, then suddenly resume, sometimes with a noticeable change in pace. Breathing can become unpredictable, sometimes speeding up for no clear reason, then gradually slowing again. One specific pattern often seen in this stage is known as Cheney-Stokes respiration. This is when the person's breathing cycles between deep, rapid breaths followed by long pauses where they may not seem to breathe at all. At first, these episodes may be brief and infrequent, but over time, they typically become more pronounced and frequent, reflecting the body's gradual shutdown. Circulation also tends to weaken significantly. This is because the heart, which is working harder and less efficiently, begins to prioritize sending blood to the most vital organs, the brain, heart, and lungs. As a result, areas farther from the core, like the hands, feet, nose, and ears, receive less blood flow. These parts of the body may begin to feel noticeably cold and take on a pale, bluish, or mottled appearance, especially in the fingers and toes. This change in skin tone and temperature is a strong physical indicator that the heart is no longer pumping as forcefully as it once did. Another sign to watch for is increased shortness of breath. Everyday actions that were once easy, like sitting up, talking, or even slightly shifting position, can suddenly leave your loved one gasping for air or needing to pause to catch their breath. They may breathe more through the mouth than the nose, and even a short conversation may require several breaks. If they were previously able to walk across the room without difficulty but now struggle, this could indicate that their lung capacity is declining. In some cases, fluid begins to build up in the lungs, making breathing even more challenging. This can result in a persistent cough, rattling or gurgling sounds while breathing, or a sensation of tightness in the chest. These symptoms are often mistaken for a cold or chest congestion, but in elderly individuals approaching the end of life, they usually signal that the lungs are losing their strength. This buildup of fluid can also make lying flat very uncomfortable, leading many people to prefer sleeping propped up with pillows or in a recliner to ease their breathing. For those watching these changes unfold, it can be incredibly difficult. There's a natural urge to help, to fix, or to find solutions. Encouraging your loved one to take deeper breaths, trying to keep them alert, or even calling for emergency medical help. But more often than not, these breathing and circulation changes are not medical emergencies. They are part of the body's natural and irreversible winding down process. This doesn't mean there's nothing you can do. While you may not be able to stop or reverse these changes, you can help ease your loved one's discomfort. Small, thoughtful adjustments can make a big difference. Keeping the room at a comfortable temperature, using a humidifier to moisten dry air, offering frequent sips of water, or applying soothing lip balm can all help. If they are struggling to breathe, propping them up with extra pillows, or using a gentle fan to circulate air can provide some relief. In some cases, medications or oxygen therapy may be prescribed to manage symptoms and make breathing easier. However, the focus typically shifts from aggressive treatment to comfort care. It becomes less about fixing the problem and more about ensuring that the person feels calm, safe, and as pain-free as possible. If you begin to notice these signs, irregular breathing, cold or discolored extremities, a bluish tint to the skin, or increasing shortness of breath, it's a powerful indication that the body is entering its final chapter. These changes mean that energy is being conserved for the most vital functions and that circulation is slowing down as the body prepares to let go. This is not a time for panic. Instead, it's a sacred window for presence, gentleness, and love. Offer your loved one reassurance. Sit with them in silence, hold their hand, or simply be nearby. The most valuable gift you can give in these moments is not medical in nature, it's emotional. Your presence, your attention, and your comfort can provide immense peace. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered in this series so far. We've talked about 5 key signs that often show up in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. 1. Significant weight loss, even when eating habits don't drastically change. 2. Extreme fatigue, where basic daily tasks become overwhelming. 3. Cognitive decline, such as confusion or forgetfulness that becomes persistent. 4. Frequent infections, as the immune system weakens. 5. Major changes in breathing and circulation, the body preparing for its final rest. These signs rarely appear all at once, and they often develop gradually. You may not notice them at first, or they may be easy to attribute to aging or other medical conditions. But when these signs begin to overlap or worsen over time, they often point to the body beginning its final transition. As hard as it is to accept, resisting or denying these changes doesn't serve anyone. It's only natural to want to fight back, urging your loved one to eat more, walk a little farther, or push through their exhaustion. But sometimes the most compassionate response is to listen, to really hear what the body is saying. It's telling a story of surrender, not defeat, of slowing down, not giving up. Rather than trying to reverse what cannot be reversed, we can turn our focus toward making our loved one's remaining time as comfortable, dignified, and meaningful as possible. That might mean adjusting expectations, simplifying routines, or just sitting together in shared silence. Understanding these changes isn't about fearing death. It's about being prepared. It's about having the clarity to make wise, compassionate decisions before a crisis hits. It's about ensuring that your loved one's final months, weeks, or days are filled with grace and presence, rather than confusion or regret. These are the moments to tell stories, to reminisce, to say what hasn't yet been said, to express love, to offer forgiveness, to hold hands and simply be. It's not about giving up. It's about showing up fully and gently. If you're noticing these signs in someone you love, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Many families have traveled this road, and while it is never easy, it is a deeply human experience. Recognizing the signs can help you find the strength, patience, and courage to face this journey with grace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing one insight you gained from this video and how you plan to carry it forward. Your reflections mean so much to us, and your words may help others who are walking the same path. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who may benefit. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs, comforts, and inspires. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.